Hari Om. We will start with a prayer. Please repeat after me. Om Vakratundaya Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya. Suryakoti Samaprabha. Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva. Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Welcome. Okay, so today's story is about faith. So today's story is about faith. We need to understand what that is. So we'll give some examples and see what that whole concept is. We'll get to questions. We'll first understand what that concept is about faith. So let's go to the very first example that we ever spoke about. First example that we spoke about was we took a ball or any object, took it at a certain height, dropped it, and we try to ask why it falls down. Why does something fall down?
Gravity.
Because of gravity. Now then we spoke about what is gravity?
Force that puts things down.
A force that puts things down. Now let's go a little advanced. Now what gravity has an amount. Okay? There is that force has a measurement. Okay? How much force is that? How much force is that?
It's Earth has lots of force.
There is
about how high it is.
Correct, but there is an amount to it. There is a number to it. So probably you're too young to know that number. What is that number? What is the force of gravitation? Somebody should know. It's 9.8 meters per second. Okay. No, yeah, right. Few. Okay. All right. So we take all these concepts. We take all these concepts. Let's try to make sense out of this. Anything that falls down is because of gravity. Okay. Gravity is that force that pulls you down on Earth. Okay. Anything that is let go has to fall down. Gravity is that force. All right. There is a number associated with it. Okay. But how do you know all this is true?
You know this is true because you have faith in the words of scientists.
In words of scientists, in words of somebody. Okay. Now, what if they got it wrong?
If they got it wrong, we would be believing in the wrong thing.
Agreed. So, chances are they got it right. But what if they got it wrong? Which direction does the sun rise in?
East.
East? Sure? No doubts? It's not north? Okay. Now, somewhere somebody showed using a compass, using some instruments that this is east, west, north, south. Okay. How do we know which is east? How can we take somebody's word for it? Somebody measured it. Somebody measured it and documented it and wrote it down and said this is east. To us, we take the result of an experiment which has been written down, which has been told to others, which has been conveyed to people, and eventually it reaches us. Hopefully, it is true. Now, who likes chocolate ice cream? You like chocolate ice cream. What ice cream do you like? Do you like ice cream?
Yes.
Yes, of course you like ice cream. What ice cream do you like?
Vanilla.
Vanilla ice cream. Okay. So, how do you know what vanilla tastes like?
I know what it tastes like because I tried it.
Okay. How do you know that it's vanilla?
You know it's vanilla
Because
what they said.
because you trust what they say. Where are we sitting right now?
We're sitting in the temple.
In the temple. Okay. In the temple upstairs, what do we see?
We see God.
We see God. Is that God or are they idols of God?
Idol.
Idols of
Idols
God.
of God, but they're drawn to represent God.
So, just like idols represent God, when we see an idol, we have faith that it is God. When we eat vanilla ice cream, strawberry ice cream, we take somebody's word that it is strawberry ice cream or chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream. Sun rises in the east. We take somebody's word. It is science, it has documented, but to us it is somebody's word or some text. Believing in anything starts not with a result, but with faith. Believing in anything starts with trust. And it is that trust that makes us believe that this is a temple, this is God. If you don't, for people who don't want to believe that it is God, to them it is an idol. What is this? Water. It's water. All right. Now, you've been upstairs to the priest, and after doing some puja and all that, the priest gives you some water, right? That's also water? Yes or no? It's water. It is water. Is that dirty water? Holy water? Holy water. This is also water. That is also water. But because a priest gives it after some puja, we believe, we have trust that it is holy water. Water is water. But we trust, we have the faith that it is holy water. Now, the story today is going to talk about how much faith a person had. How much faith a person had. And in order to emphasize the extent of that faith, how deep it was, how unquestioned it was, they are giving us a very extreme example. So let's hear the full story and then we'll try to dissect it. So Arjuna won Draupadi in the Swayamvara, and nobody knew that it was the 5 Pandavas. They took Draupadi and went back to the potter's house, or went back to the small hut that they were all staying in. Now Kunti did not come to the Swayamvara. She was inside the hut, she was inside the house, she was praying. It had been a long time, so Kunti was very worried. She was thinking, what happened to my sons? Where are they? It's been such a long time. They are not yet back home. Maybe Duryodhana recognized them in the Swayamvara. Maybe they started fighting. I hope they are safe. I wish they are back soon. It is going to get all that worry. She was constantly worrying. She was sitting in front of God and just praying, please let my sons be okay. Please let my sons be okay. While that was happening, suddenly she heard this sound from outside. Yudhishthira said, Mom, come out and see what we have brought. They had brought Draupadi. Okay? So Kunti was so relieved. She said, my sons are safe. And without thinking, she immediately said, whatever it is, please share it among the 5 of you. Now, why did she say that? Usually, the last at least a year or so, they were living disguised as Brahmanas. They used to go out, get food every day, come back and share it. So he just assumed that it was food or something like that. He said, whatever it is, share it amongst the 5 of you. And then Kunti came out and she saw Draupadi. He said, oh my God, what have I said? Without knowing that it's Draupadi, I've said that all of you share it. What should I do now? Now, before we get into what they responded and how this works, how this ended up working, Yudhishthira, the first thing that he said was, Mother, because you said it, we have to do it. Because you said it, we have to do it. Because whatever you say has to be the truth. Whatever you say has to come true. Because if you say something and we don't do it, we basically don't obey you, and whatever you have said has become kind of untrue. Okay? So now the reason he said that is he was so unquestioned about whatever his mother says must be done. There's no question. He didn't even think that that was a possibility in his head. He didn't even think that something that his mother says should not be done. In his mind, whatever his mother says is gospel, is truth.
So whatever his mother says is lie.
So Yudhishthira felt whatever his mother said is the truth. So he wanted to follow it. Now his other brothers were a little hesitant. They were like, really? That's what you want us to do? I mean, all 5 of us marry Draupadi? Come on. But Yudhishthira said there must be a reason. We don't know the reason, but there must be a reason. Now, while all this was happening back in the kingdom of Panchala, King Drupada was very worried. Somebody came, some Brahmana, they don't know who he was. He's not a king of any palace. He just did whatever was told in the Swayamvara, won Draupadi, and went away with his daughter. Where is my daughter now? How is she doing? He was like incredibly worried. So he sent his son Drishtadumya and said, please follow them and find out where they're living and find out if Draupadi is okay. Drishtadumna went, followed them, found out that they are in this hut, came back and told his father, yeah, there are like these 5 of them with an old lady and they have Draupadi and she's in a hut. She's in a hut? She's like the princess of Panchala. She's in a hut. What are you saying? So somehow Drupada wanted to do something about it. He said, go and invite them for lunch or something. Ask them to come to the palace. So Drishtadumna went, invited the Pandavas and Kunti and Draupadi to the palace. At this time, they don't know who they are. They don't know that they are the Pandavas. The Pandavas came to Drupada's palace, sat in front of Drupada, and then Yudhishthira said, King, we are the Pandavas. And the person who won Draupadi in the Swayamvara was none other than Arjuna. Drupada went, wow, cool. This is the reason I wanted Draupadi in the first place. Man, that's awesome. So he said, you remember the whole reason he went and prayed to Sunda and Upasunda and asked them to Yaja and Upayaja and asked them to have that yajna and asked for Draupadi, was the whole reason was that she should marry Arjuna. And his wish had come true and he was incredibly happy. Until Yudhishthira said the next sentence. We are the Pandavas. Arjuna won Draupadi. Drupada was happy. And Yudhishthira said, by the way, all 5 of us are going to marry Draupadi. What? What do you mean all 5 of, let me finish. What do you mean all 5 of you are going to marry Draupadi? That's no way. That's horrible. What a stupid idea. And Yudhishthira tried convincing Drupada. He said, listen, my mother said this. My mother has never lied. My mother is incapable of a lie. If she says something, it has to be true. If she says something, it cannot be untrue. Try telling him all kinds of things. Drupada said, no way. I cannot even imagine such a thing. Then Yudhishthira went on and said, this is not uncommon. This has happened in history. And he cited some examples. Obviously, something like that would never happen in our time, completely different age and era, but he cited some examples. Drupada was still not convinced. As usual, magically, sage Vyasa appeared in Panchala. Always sage Vyasa somehow magically appears whenever people have questions or doubts. So sage Vyasa appeared, and as usual, everybody paid respect to him, asked him to sit down. And they said, see, this is the problem. Drupada said, this is what they want to do, and I don't think it is the right thing to do. Please advise us. Sage Vyasa said, King Drupada, don't worry. The 5 Pandavas marrying Draupadi is the right thing to do. Drupada asked why. And Sage Vyasa said, I'll tell you the story. He said, long ago, many eons ago, there was a sage called Maugdalya. And this sage had a wife called Nalayini. Now Maugdalya and Nalayini were living happily. One day, sage Maugdalya said, I'm kind of bored with married life. I'm done with it. I want to go to the mountains and start meditating. Nalayini said, what? What does that mean? He said, it means I'm leaving. I'm leaving you for good. And he said, no way. I'm not done living happily and all. What do you mean you're just going to leave me? What am I going to do? What am I supposed to do? Imagine suddenly your dad says, I'm going to go to mountains and start meditating. You're like, Dad, come on. No, that's what Nalayini said. What are you thinking? Maugdalya said, stop following me. I have made up my mind. I'm going. And he went away. Nalayini was extremely sad, extremely dejected. She started praying to Lord Shiva. There is so much I want to live. There's so much I want to experience. There's so much I want to do. And my husband just went away. What am I going to do? She started praying to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva appeared before her after a lot of penances and asked, "Child, what do you want?" And Nalayani was so happy Lord Shiva was there. And she had that single desire in her head that she wanted to live a happy married life with an amazing husband. And she said, "I want the best husband. I 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 want the best husband." And Shiva said, "Sure, you will have 5 husbands in your next life." And I said, "Wait, no, that's not what I meant. I just want a husband." Shiva said, "No, you said I want a best husband, I want a best husband, I want the best husband, I want the best husband, I want the best husband. You can have 5. And then he said, "No, I just wanted 1. I'm very sorry. Please take back the boon." Well, I can't just take it back. Remember when sage Vasishta cursed the 8 Vasus? And the 8 Vasus went and fell at his feet and said, "Please take back the curse." The first thing sage Vasishta said was, "I cannot take it back." Whenever something has been said by learned, knowledgeable people, they cannot take it back. Once said is said. But Shiva said, "You will have 5 husbands, but it will be in such a way that they came from the same person." Nalayani quietly agreed, and in her next life she was born as Draupadi, and that is how she was destined to have 5 husbands. Now Vyasa told all the story, and everybody was convinced except Drupada. Drupada was still not convinced. "Hey, I understand this whole karma and all that. I know you're telling me the story. I know that it was actually Draupadi who, as Nalayani, asked for 5 husbands, and that is why she has 5. I get all that, but I'm still not convinced." So Vyasa said, "Okay, come." And he took him into a room quietly and said, "I will tell you another story." Drupada said, "Okay, now what is this new story? Please tell me." He said, "Long ago," another long ago, yes, another long ago, just like, you live in Buffalo, right? So Buffalo has, what does it have? It have county congressmen for this area, region? It had mayor, okay. And then eventually the state has a governor, and then there are several senators and congressmen all over the country, and all of them roll up in hierarchy to one president for the country. You know that there is one president for the country. Similarly, when God created this world, there was only one God. It was all one God. And that one God manifested or started taking several forms to do several activities. So Vyasa said, originally there was only one Indra who was doing all the activities of people like Surya, people like Vayu, wind, Varuna, rain, sun. He was doing all those activities, but it was only one Indra. And this one Indra was at one point of time, he became very kind of proud about himself. He was doing all kinds of jobs single-handedly. He was taking care of sun, rain, fire, moon, everything. It's like, I'm awesome. Shiva wanted to teach him a lesson, teach him humility. So one day this Indra was walking by the Ganges river, and there was a small child playing. And Indra was curious. He says, "Hey child, who are you?" And this child didn't even turn back. Just continued playing. Indra asked, "Turn back and answer me this moment. Who are you?" Completely ignored him. Didn't even turn back. Indra got very angry. "Do you know who I am? Turn back this moment and answer me, or I will punish you." So this child turned back and revealed his true self, said, "I'm Lord Shiva." And Indra immediately fell at his feet and said, "I'm sorry." So Lord Shiva said, "You are too proud of who you are. You need to be taught a lesson. You have to be born as a human being. Usual curse of everybody in the heaven is go be born as a human being." Said you have to be born as a human being and suffer all these things. Gave him a big list. And Indra prayed and said, if I undergo all that suffering, I will not stand it. That is too much for one person. Please do something about it. So Shiva said, okay, in that case, you will be born not as one person, you will be born as 5 people. And your suffering will be spread between 5 people. One Indra of old, born as 5 people. And these 5 people were the 5 Pandavas. Now Vyasa said the story and said, Drupada, turn around and look at the Pandavas now. So Drupada turned around and saw the Pandavas sitting in this assembly, and he didn't see the 5 Pandavas. He saw the same person sitting in 5 places. He saw the same Indra, who was originally Indra, with his crown and his dress. He saw that original form of these 5 people, and he immediately realized that these 5 people actually came from one consciousness, and therefore they were originally the same person. His doubts were cleared, and he said, I see the truth, and I accept what you have said. And Drupada's confusions and questions were cleared. Once they were cleared, Drupada accepted, and the 5 Pandavas married Draupadi one by one. This is the story. This is an extreme example. The first thing to remember is it is absolutely not applicable in that exact sense today. No way. No law in the world is going to allow this. Absolutely. The second is mothers won't tell you that anymore. The third is, even if your mothers tell you that, you're not going to listen to your mother. So none of these things are true, but the important thing to realize is the extent of Yudhishthira's faith in his mother's words. We saw the extent of love that Devavrata had for his father, that he was ready to do anything for his father, including give up married life. And we spoke about it is not something that our parents will expect us to do. They won't expect us to go out and stand in the open and say, I will give up married life. No. But the little things that we can do, like eat vegetables, seriously, like eat vegetables, like clean your room, like clean up after you eat, like arrive the moment they say dinner's ready. Little things will make them very happy. And that was what we saw with Devavrata's example, with Yudhishthira's unquestioned faith on his mother, on his mother's words. We see that it is important to implicitly trust what they say. Nothing that they say, nothing, not a word that they say is for our bad. Every word, every syllable, every thought that our parents undergo is only for our good, absolutely nothing else. And that implicit faith, unquestioned, should the thought can't even enter our minds that it is something that we should not follow. It is just implicitly true. If they say it, it means it's good, period. And this example is told to show that quality and to emphasize that even if it is something so extreme, because his mother said it, it's true. We will finish the story here. We'll tell the Gita Dhyana Shloka. And next week we will talk about how all the Pandavas came and started constructing their own kingdom. And with that, I think this first section of the Mahabharata will be over, and we'll move on to the next section.